What got you there with What got you there with Sean DeLaney? 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 What got you there with Sean DeLaney?
Chris Long is a defensive end for the Philadelphia Eagles. In 2008, Chris was drafted number 2 overall by the St. Louis Rams and went on to be on the all-rookie team. Last year, Chris won a Super Bowl with the New England Patriots. This season, Chris is donating his entire playing salary to supporting education in different cities that he's played and lived in. In addition to those philanthropic endeavors, Chris started Waterboys. Waterboys unites NFL players from across the league in service. As Waterboys, players put aside allegiance and team up with fans in support of a single shared cause, providing clean, accessible drinking water to rural communities in East Africa. This episode dives deep with one of the most giving people in sports.
Chris, thanks for joining us on What Got You There. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. You have been in the news recently. A lot of great stuff going on all off the field. I want to jump into that right off the bat. So you've done some incredible things on the field, but the biggest things you've done in the past few weeks is you donated your first 6 game checks to scholarships in your hometown, and then you just said that you're going to donate your final 10 game checks. What inspired this?
Well, I mean, the best part about playing football in the NFL for as long as I have is obviously being given the resources to affect change, and then also having the platform to kind of multiply the influence, whether it's through social media or, through hopefully setting an example. And I've been lucky enough to make good money playing football. It's a great job. It can be hard, but, I wouldn't trade it. And, this year, for a number of reasons, we wanted to push harder in the educational scope. My wife and I have always viewed education and investing in youth, whether it's Boys and Girls Club, after-school programs, or scholarships in my hometown, as a really great way to invest in improving the country and your community. The thing about kids is they can't decide. They have no say in their home life. They have no say in their educational opportunity or lack thereof. So I wanted to continue it this year. We did something in Charlottesville, which obviously, brought some positivity to that area after the summer and everything went down there, but wanted to balance it out with a more macro kind of approach to it. So the last 10 game checks are going to different organizations in 3 markets that I've played in: Philly, Boston, St. Louis. And their organizations are Summer Search, Little Bit Foundation, and College Bound. And it kind of comprehensively attacks, educational inequality and lack of opportunity for a lot of underserved youth. So we're excited about it, and fans have already pitched in. I mean, we announced this thing, yesterday morning, and it's felt like a long time because there's been so much that's gone into it, but we're at almost about 200K of fan and social pledges, and so that's well over a quarter of the way to the match. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I love how you're using your platform for that. And my wife and I, we already talked about it. We're definitely donating to that cause because I love what you guys are doing to support education, how important that is. I want to know, when did you know you were going to do that this season?
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you thinking of us. And it kind of, like anything with me, I got a lot of crazy ideas and 50% of them are bad ideas and 50% are good. And I can be a little impulsive, but it's something I kind of wanted to do for a while. This year for me was certainly not about money. This year for me was about having fun and, finding a place to kind of finish my career, whether it's, whether I play another year or 5 more years. I hope it's here. And hopefully giving back and using my platform to give back. So, last year, lucky enough to win a Super Bowl in St. Louis. Didn't enjoy a lot of winning, but, had some individual success. So now here I am, my 3rd team. And I just decided as the year went on, as the year got started and we talked about ramping up the scholarship fund back home, I said, well, what the hell? Why don't we just do the whole year for educational equity and opportunities. So I think it makes my job a lot more fun. It's something I've always wondered if I could pull off. If I could pull off like really playing football for free. I don't know that I could play for free unless it had a cause behind it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I'm not getting paid. My game checks aren't going to me. But at the same time, it's going to a purpose. And so that to me isn't playing for free. And I've enjoyed, coming to work every day, realizing that, I've got a lot more people depending on me than just myself.
Yeah, playing for a lot more people. That's cool and definitely inspiring there. Something we asked all of our guests, though, is how do you start each day? So as an NFL athlete, what does that morning look like? Do you have any routines? I know you've got a young one at home I'm sure you're busy with.
Yeah, well, in the morning, the awesome thing is, sleep is so important for NFL athletes, especially during the year. And usually I'm out of bed about 7:15, 7:20. And I'm one of the guys that probably rolls out of bed the last on the list on my team. I'm, a lot of times coaches and fans and players use a cliche, first one in the building. Well, my opinion's always been you can get the same amount of work done after work than you can before. So I want to maximize my sleep. I've got my routine down where I need to be out the door within 14 minutes and know my commute, and I can be there right on time. And then after work, I'm going to be there as long as I need to be to watch film, get my body right, do those extra things that you learn over the course of your career to be successful. So, if we get out at 4:45, I might be there till 7:30 at night. But I'm not going to be the first one in the building, and I'll never be one to pretend I am. For me, just hit the ground running, get ready as fast as I can, hop in the car. And first thing I do is probably open Twitter to check and make sure that the world's not ending or something, and kind of check the news that way.
What's your Twitter been like the last couple days?
It's been positive.
Man, it must be blowing up right now.
But I check it more. I check it more in the morning to see, what current events are transpiring. And certainly with all the craziness that's going on in the country in a lot of different ways, new stuff is popping up every day and around the world. So Twitter is a good way to kind of get your news and digest it that way. Sometimes I wish that's all I could do with it.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of mentioned all the chaos that's going on in the world. I think that's one of the best things about what you're doing right now. I feel like it's almost one of the only positive things I've seen in sports in the past few weeks. So it's great seeing that. I know you kind of mentioned preparing your body. Huge into health and fitness on this podcast. They love hearing that from the guests. Any things that you've learned over your career that you do to kind of maintain your body?
Well, I believe that there's an abundance of kind of newer research items that are always on the table for pro athletes that are always developing, whether it's some sort of sports science edge or, a technique of massage or acupuncture or, people sleeping in hyperbaric chambers, cryotherapy. There's so many avenues you can go down, and certain guys swear by each avenue. For me, what I've figured out is that investing in your body is the best investment you can make. I spend a ton of money and time on my body during the year. I fly in an acupuncturist who also does ART weekly, and I get 2 massages a week. I'm in, if you've seen the Normatec boots, I really believe in those. And I really believe in the basics. At the end of the day, you could do all that auxiliary stuff, but if you don't hydrate and you don't get 8 hours of sleep, and you're not eating right, and you're partying on the weekends, that's not a formula for success. You can get in all the cryotherapy chambers you want. You can do all the acupuncture you want. You can, take weird vitamins, but I really believe in the basics, and that's sleep, hydration, and nutrition. And that's the thing that's allowed me to continue to play at a solid level into my 30s in a highly physical sport. And I've prided myself on durability, and that's something that you got to pay attention to as your body.
Who's the most impressive athlete in the Long family?
Oh, Kyle, for sure, my brother.
Would he take you in a wrestling match?
Yeah, for sure. Maybe by about 60 pounds, and he's 3 inches taller than me, so he's like a miniature bear. And funny because he's on the Bears, but my dad's a great athlete. Kyle's got that same kind of effortless. You pick up a new sport and you can just learn it in a day, and he looks like a real natural at it. And then obviously Meg, my wife, she's now that she's part of the family, I think she's got to be in that conversation too.
Yeah, she might have all you guys beat there. So, I mean, what is that like growing up? Dad's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, it's so incredible. 3 very talented boys they raise. How does that happen?
Well, I think obviously anybody who's in the NFL or plays a professional sport has got to have some level of genetics that sets them apart and gives them that opportunity. And my dad's a really good athlete. Certainly worked very hard for what he has, but you need that prerequisite. And Kyle is a freak of nature. I'm a pretty good athlete. I would put myself a few notches below him. And my brother Howie, who's a great athlete in a smaller size. We say he's normal size, or people call him Little Howie in our family, but he's not a small guy. I mean, he's just not as big as me and my brother. But he was a great athlete in high school, quarterback, lacrosse player, went to Virginia to play lacrosse, and now works for the Raiders as a personnel guy. So it's really cool that, like, football, although it was the furthest thing from being on purpose, has kind of drawn us all in, for better or for worse. And the guy who's going to have the job way longer than any of us is Howie, my youngest brother, because the cool thing I tell him about it is, being a pro football player, they're trying to run you out of the league and you're probably done by 30. You're lucky if you play into your 30s, but as a personnel guy, hopefully one day he'll be a GM and he'll have more power than any of us.
Yeah. I mean, you're so multifaceted off the field. Were you like that as a kid? Were you philanthropic? Were you entrepreneurial? Anything like that throughout middle school or high school?
I was just all over the place. I mean, I always had a lot of big, stupid ideas, and some ideas, and certainly a short attention span, but always trying to do a lot of different things. And I guess I get that kind of fidgety nature from my mom. She's all over the place. She's got a lot of energy. To me, she's one of my heroes, and she's definitely very philanthropic, being on the board at the Boys and Girls Club for a long time. And she's very creative, and she's got to be on the move all the time. And, the cool thing about my mom, I think, is, how social she is in a really genuine way. She really enjoys meeting new people. She makes everybody in the room feel, special and cool. And it's all genuine. It's not an act. So I think as far as like my energy to do things off the field, that would come from her. And, certainly not to leave my dad out of the equation, but he gets plenty of love. When
you are off the field, what do you like to do?
Right now, be a dad. I mean, it's the coolest thing that, I've ever been able to do, is be a father, coming home every night and seeing Waylon, our son, who's 19 months old. That's like number one. When we're back home, we live in Charlottesville, Virginia, which is a beautiful place, getting outside when you can, hiking, the rare camping trip with all my buddies. That seems to get rarer and rarer every year. So stuff like that. I enjoy, I guess, sometimes I rack my brain for hobbies. I like to fly my drone, stuff like that. Just being outside and enjoying my friends as well.
Oh, that's awesome. No, flying the drone, that's funny. It makes me think of my dad. He, I feel like, has almost been arrested multiple times from illegally flying that thing all over the place. So yeah. I should link you two up.
Myself, but it is hard to follow FAA regulations. I'm the only one around. How could it be illegal? But yeah, you got to be careful with those things. They're amazing machines, though.
Yeah, they're very cool for sure. Today, what got you there is being fueled by Soneva Super Coffee. Suniva provides an organic bottled coffee blended with lactose-free protein and MCTs from coconut oil for all-day energy. Grab a bottle at your local Whole Foods market or use discount code WGYT at drinksupercoffee.com for 20% off your order. Are you looking to finish the latest thriller, such as The Girl on the Train, while you're at the gym or in the car? Well, now you can. For listeners of What Got You There podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check this out. Head over to www.audibletrial.com/whatgotyouThere to choose from over 180,000 titles to select the book you want to hear next. Distilled utilizes the same fabrics, factories, and wash houses as the best-known brands and designers while skipping the markups and middlemen. The result? Top quality denim without the retail runaround. Just go to dstld.com and see where minimalist design meets maximum comfort. They have a 100% fit guarantee, offering free shipping and returns until you find the perfect pair. Inspired by the creative class, Distilled is the perfect brand for those who have other things to think about besides getting dressed. You'll look good no matter what with Distilled. Distilled has been featured in Forbes, Time, and TechCrunch, as well as on denim-clad celebrities in GQ and Men's Health. You can find the brand's amazing selection of outwear, leather jackets, t-shirts, and more using the same principles of high-grade materials at low-end cost. Distilled is your answer to elevated style without elevated prices. Just go to dstld.com right now and use the promo code JOURNEY10 in all caps at checkout to get 10% off your first purchase. So what's it like? We always talk about kind of adversity, and you're drafted number 2 overall. How do you handle that type of pressure and then succeed, go on to be Rookie of the Year?
Well, it certainly it takes a lot of belief in yourself. You can't be complacent or arrogant because you were drafted high, because to me, that's just the beginning of an opportunity. I didn't feel like I ever took it as an accomplishment. I think a lot of people when they get drafted feel like, okay, I've made it. I've accomplished something. When for me, I was like, man, this is a lot of pressure, and I need to try to live up to this. And, at times you fall short. I mean, there's a lot of expectations that come with being a high draft pick and coming to a bad team, that comes with being a high draft pick. So you add that on, and there's a lot of pressure, and it's not an ideal situation, but, you certainly have a lot to be thankful for, and you're going to get all the opportunities you need to succeed. One thing about the league is where you're drafted is definitely going to give you the opportunities you need to go make plays. You're going to get more snaps. You're going to get more chances. And certainly you do a lot to position yourself. Waylon just visited us.
Yeah, he's always welcome on the podcast.
Got a lot to say. But yeah, I mean, certainly you accomplish something, you put yourself in that position by having a great college career. But as a pro, you have to be cognizant of the fact that there are a lot of guys that were undrafted or drafted late who aren't going to get the same opportunities as you. So I never took it lightly. I didn't think it made me special or anything like that. And, that's made me better for it, dealing with that pressure.
Yeah, I have to assume that never made it mentality also contributes to you being in the league for so long, which is one of the most difficult things to do. And you mentioned when you came in not being on a good team, and then last year you were fortunate enough to be on the Patriots. I was talking earlier with Chris Hogan, one of our mutual friends. He's on the Patriots, and he said I had to bring up the Julian mask.
The Julian mask. Yes. That was one of my favorite parts of last year. That had a lot of applications. It can be pretty serious in that building, and it's a great place to work, and I love those guys, man. Talk about making a ton of lifelong friends in 1 year. Jules is one of my favorites. He's just a caricature of himself, and so I had to get the mask. I got this super expensive, it's almost like a resin mask that you can get online. You send them a picture, and they make this creepy, realistic, like V for Vendetta looking flesh colored mask that looked just like Jules. And I got one of Rob Ninkovich too, and I was going to open locker room, and do my Jules impression and sit at his locker. And I'd have reporters around me asking me questions like I was Jules. And, he'd walk in, of course, and he probably was pissed off I was stealing his shine. But it was great. And then, I took it to the parade after we won the Super Bowl, which was a blur. And, of course, we were all hammered, so I lost the mask. Somebody downtown in Boston has the legendary Julian mask. I want to put a reward out for it.
We might have to get that up there. I mean, is that locker room, is that the most fun thing in sports? Is that what keeps you going?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like any locker room, you work really hard in it day to day. I think, the thing about football is there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. And I think some people assume that, you show up, you practice, you play in a game and you go home. There's so much, meeting time, preparation. There's a lot of pressure. This is guys' livelihood. And it's not always what people imagine. Like everybody's driving that sports car. Certainly a lot of guys are living a great life and all that. But I know guys that are living at like the Courtyard Marriott and that are bouncing around. Their families are back home. They're certainly being compensated well for it, but it's a grind for a lot of guys, and it's a grind for everyone, really, physically and mentally and emotionally. So having those teammates that you can kind of lean on and the camaraderie every day, that's the like special part of football, and I think that's what keeps guys coming back. Whether you're a 10-year vet that's been blessed enough to play a long time and been compensated well for it, or a second-year guy that's, on practice squad that has no real stability in his career and hasn't been compensated well for it at all. I mean, the tie that binds us all is that camaraderie.
Yeah, no, it's cool hearing about that. And you mentioned the seriousness in the locker room at times. So I've got to ask about Bill Belichick. You have any funny stories that people don't really get to see?
Bill, he's a lot cooler than people would ever realize. I think the coolest thing about him is his stealth sense of humor. It comes out from time to time, and he does everything with a straight face, as you could imagine, like totally deadpan. And when he does, it just makes it so much more effective. If somebody's being funny all the time, I mean, how funny are they? I mean, Bill, he's going to sneak a great joke in maybe twice a week, and it's usually going to be in a team meeting, and everybody's going to be crying, laughing. So he's a lot more relaxed than you might think outside of football, and he certainly does have a sense of humor.
Did you guys ever pull any good pranks on him?
No, I think people
too afraid.
Maybe somebody has. I can't remember pulling any pranks on him. But if anybody could do it, maybe it would be Tom.
Oh, that would be great to hear that story. So is he is he your favorite coach of all time?
I've been lucky to have a lot of great coaches. I think they're all different. He's certainly the one that Waylon doesn't want to go to bed. Bubba, you got to go to bed. You got to go to bed. It's 9 o'clock. My son's a maniac. But yeah, certainly Bill, in a sense that, every day when you walk into work, you're watching history. I mean, kind of unfold, not just Bill, but, Tom and the historic collaboration that they've been able to go through with over the last decade plus. Every time you sit in a team meeting with him, he is the most comprehensive expert on all phases of the game. He could coach any position. Like literally, he could walk into your meeting room and he could coach your position as well as anybody that coaches that position in the NFL. He's acquired so much knowledge. But I've had a lot of great coaches, and I don't want to minimize anybody else. Obviously, his resume is the best, but, it takes a lot to win. It takes talented players, and he's certainly had those. And he's also done a good job of compiling talent. Yeah,
what was that year like? I mean, culminating with the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history, just the narrative, the storytelling, all with that. I mean, it was dream come true. What's that like?
It's really cool. I mean, coming from a team where you're scratching and clawing just to win a game, and every week is like, if you win, it's a big deal, and you're gonna be out with your buddies, you're gonna party. It's like, man, the Rams got to win. To going up there and you're expected to win. You expect to win. You prepare with that expectation, and you've got to go execute on Sunday, and when you're done with the win, it's on to the next thing very quickly. I mean, there's no time to rest on your laurels, and everything seems to be building towards December, January, and hopefully February. And that's kind of the way it is there. Is when the weather gets cold, that's when the real football starts, and everything is building towards being the best team you can be when that happens.
When did it finally set in that you actually were a Super Bowl champ?
Man, some days it still doesn't compute, or the fashion that we did it in. Some days it's hard to really come to grips with. I mean, because it was so unlikely. And it was so, in my mind, and I'm sure a lot of guys on the team, they might not be as honest as me. I didn't think we were going to win that game after a while. I mean, being down that much, if you listen to, statistics about, turnover margin, or, if team X is up by X amount of points in whatever quarter, I mean, if you believe in those sort of probabilities, our probabilities were super low. I mean, astronomically low. I think I saw like a 538 thing if you follow them, that gave us, less than a 1% chance. And no one gave up. I'm sure in some people's minds they thought, if I was to take a guess, if we're going to lose this game, we probably are. But when you have a team that's that mentally tough, you take things one play at a time. There's no big revelation at halftime. You want to get in this game, you gotta get into it the same way we lost control of it, which is one play at a time.
Were you guys just laughing the next morning if SportsCenter was on and you you guys saw how you were able to come back?
I was just on a cloud, man. It was crazy. One of the coolest memories for me was, you imagine after the Super Bowl, as far as the parties and all that's concerned, the coolest moment for me was having my son and my wife and my dad on the field, my mom, my brothers, and just the mad scramble to find them on the field and all that chaos, and just finding Meg and Waylon. And my son didn't know what the hell was going on. He had his little concert headphones on, and it was like 5 hours past his bedtime. But that meant so much to me. And then, the party, all that stuff. You imagine being in a club, like, popping bottles and all that cliche, like we won the championship type thing. It really wasn't that. I ended up at a hotel bar with my brothers and some of my close friends who were there, and had a great time, and it was low key. And then late at night, I met Rob Ninkovich, who's a dear friend, back at the hotel, and we sat up in the room and drank a couple beers, and 4 a.m, we're watching a rerun of the game, and we're just sitting there like, we just did this. It's absolutely real, and I don't think it set in for quite a while.
Well, Chris, I mean, I've been such a fan of you since you've been playing at UVA, and I was at Carolina getting to watch you there, but I love what you do off the field so much more than what you do on the field. So I want to go back to when you went to Tanzania to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Can you talk about that, how that led to starting Waterboys and what Waterboys is?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in about, I believe it was 2013, it could have been 12. I don't remember which year it was the first time I went to Tanzania, but I was feeling kind of like my career was going well. I was having individual success. I was making good money. But for me, I was always the person that was jealous of the person that took a couple years off after college and traveled, or, did the Peace Corps, like built houses with Habitat, like on some island. Like that stuff was like the cool stuff to me. And here I was, a pro football player, and a lot of people probably wanted to be what I was, but I was kind of feeling like I was missing something. So I wanted to travel. I wanted to get outside my comfort zone. A teammate and I decided we wanted to go climb Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa. It's a 20,000-foot mountain.
Yeah, just simple task there in the off
Yeah,
season.
in our off season, and another one of these stupid ideas that when I get fixated on it, I'm like, all right, let's do it. So having James Hall, who is a dear friend of mine, go with me, and we went to climb, and we had a wonderful experience. We came away also with kind of a window into what real poverty is and existing on a scale that frankly just isn't present in the United States. And we have a lot of problems in this country, and all of them need attention. But certainly, we can walk and chew gum. We can help at home and abroad. So I had an idea that I got intro to some people that had been in the clean water game, so to speak, for quite a while, and they put the bug in my ear about why it's such a wonderful cause. And the cool thing about clean water is it's trackable. It's easy to see the difference your dollar's making and how far your dollar goes. That's what attracted me to clean water. It wasn't like I had some epiphany. It was a very calculated thing. Is how can I use my platform to affect the most change? I believe I can save the most lives, alter the most communities, and provide the most basic human necessity with clean water. So I launched this thing called Water Boys that you recruit your peers in the NFL and get guys to leverage their platforms in their different markets. It's really a simple strategy. Together we can accomplish more and lean on each other. And, we've been lucky. I've had over 25 guys involved, and we've gotten about 25 wells funded. Our goal was 32. We're getting donations all the time, big and small. 32 wells for 32 teams is a goal. We're gonna exceed that by the end of this season. I know it. And we've provided clean water for about 100,000 people at this point. So our next goal that we're excited to announce long term will be to serve 1 million people. We'll go away from the model of wells in the ground to people served, and we're also open to expanding geographically because Tanzania is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful place, and it's also very hard to get to. So to involve NFL players, you need them to feel like it's readily accessible. So somewhere like a Haiti or Central America that's a little bit more agreeable geographically, that's where we might branch out to. But I love that our presence is in Tanzania because that's where I first found my passion for it.
And that's waterboys.org, right?
Yep, you can check it out, waterboys.org.
Yeah, no, just seeing some of the videos behind that and when you guys were over there and you kind of just mentioned how clear it is to be able to see clean water and the difference of what they're actually consuming over there. It's unbelievable. I think a lot of people definitely want to get involved when they're checking that out.
No doubt, man. The world would run so much more efficiently. Half the world's hospital beds are occupied by people with waterborne illness. You've got children under 5 dying at an alarming rate due to waterborne illness. And when you see a community that doesn't have clean water and then one that does, it really sticks with you. And I just think it's a great vehicle to try to help people. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, we're going to support in any way we can. I'm also curious, what's next after football for you?
For me, I'm trying to be like you. I want to have a podcast, man. Honestly, that's one of my. It's early on my list. I'm not sure what I want to be when I grow up, so to speak. But I would enjoy having a podcast that's kind of 70-30 sports, pop culture, current events being what I'd talk about. A little bit less, but mostly sports, and being able to run that out of our hometown in Charlottesville, hopefully, and run my foundation and see if there's anything else I can fit on my plate, and take that time to kind of just figure things out. But I'm certainly terrified and excited about, not having that, built-in accountability factor of why I got to get out of bed every morning and go get on the grind. But I'll be excited to take it on.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing what you would call some of your crazy ideas because I know once you're done football, you're going to have plenty of those. It's going to be sparking some change in this world and it's going to be fun to watch. But what are you most proud of right now?
I guess what I'm most proud of right now is probably, being a dad. I guess for me, my life definitely changed when Waylon came along over a year ago. No matter how selfless you think you are, you're living for yourself in a lot of ways. And as somebody who, Meg and I waited a long time to have our first child, you you don't realize how much more fulfilling life is when you have that person to really to live for and that depends on you. And so I think being a dad is awesome. It's like a lifelong project, and it's so rewarding. And the littlest things just restore your faith in not only the process of being a parent, but in humanity and why you got to believe in waking up every day and going out and doing good in the world, or being there for your family, because it's the ultimate thing to have a little you. It's so cool, and obviously couldn't do it without Meg. She's the one when I'm at work for 12 hours for a day. She's Waylon's best buddy, and so I'm certainly proud of myself for being a dad, but almost more proud of the job that Meg's done.
Man, it's incredible to hear really more about the man behind the mask, so to speak. So, I mean, it's fascinating just listening to you talk about that and everything you're doing off the field. So props to you. I hope you keep that up. Anything else you want my listeners to know about?
Thanks, Sean. I appreciate it. I mean, we touched on, two of the ways they can help out if they're interested in some of the things I'm interested in. Certainly check out this Pledge 10 for Tomorrow initiative that's going on right now with the last 10 game checks. Again, you can check it out at www.pledgeit.org/pledge10. And you can kind of learn about some of the organizations that we're helping. Again, we've raised almost $200K in 2 days, so every donation helps. And the city with the most pledges, and that includes Philly.
There we go.
And they have been kicking ass, by the way. I mean, for a first-year guy to get that kind of love here, it just goes to show how awesome the fans are. And the city with the most pledges will get an additional $50,000 to those causes. So check that out and check out waterboys.org. And those are that's what I got cooking. So
awesome. We're going to get all that linked up in the show notes, and we have a huge Philly contingency who listen to this, so hopefully they're going to jump on board and support. But Chris, man, keep on kicking ass. I love following your story, and best of luck with everything you have going on the rest of the season.
Sean, thank you so much, man, and I've enjoyed being on, so see you soon.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/what got you there. Audible has over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. I'm a huge fan of Audible and definitely recommend checking it out. If you're looking for a way to stay energized throughout the entire day, grab a bottle of Soniva Super Coffee. Soniva is something I drink on a daily basis. It's an organic bottled coffee blend with lactose-free protein and MCTs from coconut oil, which provides me with clean, all-day energy. Head to your local Whole Foods or use discount code WGYT at drinksupercoffee.com for 20% off your order. Soniva was founded by 3 college athletes who are brothers and wanted a cleaner way to stay energized throughout the entire day. Let's face it, we all want to look good in the clothes we wear, but I got tired of sifting through the racks looking for a quality pair of jeans that cost less than $300. Then I found Distilled. DSTLD, pronounced Distilled, offers premium denim and essentials at an affordable price. Their products cost just 1/3 of what other premium brands charge because Distilled refuses to work with middlemen, bringing savings directly to you. Just go to dstld.com right now and use the promo code JOURNEY10 in all caps at checkout to get 10% off your first purchase.
What got you there with Sean DeLaney? What got you there with Sean DeLaney? What got you there with Sean DeLaney? What got you there with got you?
Thanks for listening to another episode of What Got You There. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review on iTunes and also share with your friends. Thanks so much. Looking forward to talking with you next time. If you want to stay up to date on all things I'm working on behind the scenes and everything we've got going on at What Got You There, head over to whatgotyouthere.com. You'll also be able to see more on podcast guests and what they're doing. Thanks to Justin Great for providing us the intro and outro song. If you like his music and want to find out more about what he's working on, head over to justingreat.com.